I want to talk to you about a story that came to me, and it was a story given to me by Spirit. And it was back in 1998, along about then, that I was doing automatic writing. I hadn't done it very much, but what had happened was I had learned how to fold the crane. I had gone to the Peace-Pilgrim Center, which is someone's house, where they sent out Peace-Pilgrim literature to people all over the world. And someone there at the Peace-Pilgrim Center was wearing this necklace made out of 1,000 folded little tiny cranes of all colors. It was very beautiful. And this woman told me about Sadeko and the 1,000 Cranes, which was a story that I had managed to always miss hearing. Kids nowadays in schools talk about Sadeko and the 1,000 Cranes, and I think people all over the world make cranes to send to a monument of Sadeko. And it is important to understand that the story of Sadeko and the 1,000 Cranes is powerful because so many people associate that story and the folding of the cranes with our desire for peace, because Sadeko was just a little girl in Hiroshima. She was just a toddler, I think, and the bomb was dropped, and as they fled Hiroshima, she was exposed to the radiation. And later on in her life, when she was almost 10 years old, she came down with what was called the bomb disease. But it was a rapid form of leukemia, a cancer that many of the people exposed to that radiation got. And almost no one ever survived this. It was just a death penalty to get it. And she got it. And she loved life so much. She wanted to live. She had a little friend that believed in a story that was about the folding of cranes. And if you fold 1,000 cranes, it is believed, according to this story, that you can have any wish you want granted. So Sadeko clung to that story and started folding cranes. And she folded quite a few before she became too ill to be at home anymore and had to go into the hospital. And even there she kept folding cranes, and her brother would hang them from the ceiling of the hospital room. And she folded over 600 of them before she succumbed to the illness and died. And her classmates folded the rest of the 1,000 cranes, and they buried them with Sadeko. And the story of Sadeko has awakened in people so much a desire for peace, so that need never happen to any little girl who wants to live, that she would have to die of a terrible leukemia-like cancer. So there's much energy about folding the crane and thoughts of peace. And when I saw this lady with 1,000 cranes around her neck, I said, please show me how to fold that crane. And it took about 7 times of her showing me over again. But I finally could do it on my own without her showing me. So now that I knew how to fold the crane, I was going to make sure I made a copy of the steps. And for some reason, when I got home, I put each step of the folding of the crane on a separate sheet of paper in a notebook. And I thought, well, in case I ever forget and I want to fold the crane again, I'll just get this out and this will show me what to do. Then one day that day came, and I decided I was going to play with folding paper. And so I got out that book with all the steps. Only Spirit started talking to me through the means of automatic handwriting. And I was told that we would fold that crane, but we would call it not the crane but the dove, because the dove represented peace, and that I was going to be given a story that would go along with each fold of this crane into its final figure. Only we were going to call it the dove, and I hope that this doesn't disturb anyone that really is fond of it being called the crane, because in my story given to me by Spirit, I was definitely told that we would call it the dove. And so I listened. Well, I just used my hands and started writing very rapidly, and I wasn't even able to hardly think of what I would write. Sometimes when I write something, my mind is more engaged, but it wasn't very engaged. And I was writing this long story on different sheets of the paper that all these different folds were taped to. And it was astonishing. After that it was all said and done, I looked at the story, and it was an amazing story. It's a story about our oneness with all that is. And it uses the folding of the paper into a dove to tell that story of how we have thought we were separate. It even mentions in there that we will be given aid by our space brothers to learn more. Once we learn to love one another and not be so militant, they will be able to help us to unfold even more the potential that is already right within us. And so this story, the dove story, it's got a lot of little characters. It's got little butterflies, and it's got an angel. It's got a crown. It's got so many little caricatures. I wish so much that someone would run with this story and say, I'm making it into a musical. I'm going to make up songs for the little butterflies to sing to one another. At one point they're comparing and discussing why their difference makes a difference and why they can't like someone different than themselves. That's when they're separating and becoming boxes. And you know how people say nowadays, we've got to think outside the box. Well, my story has a box, and the box has a divided tongue in the middle of it, meaning we talk with divided tongue. What we say is not what we do. So it's got a lot of real good reminders to us, and it's got the plan for what is going to happen when the bride and the groom get together and have a wedding feast. I won't tell you that. You're going to have to just look at this video. It's a series of 3 little short videos, about 15 minutes duration each video. And I put the playlist for this over into the sidebar description bar. You can click right on it right there and go to the dove story. And if you're an artist, a musician, someone who likes to dance or make costumes, get some ideas about how this could turn into quite a beautiful musical. And it is my desire that it become one, and that a great many people contribute what they can. I'm not talking about money, I'm talking about talents in making up the songs that would need to be going into this, and the music score in the background and everything, because it is a timely story. It's not my story, it is Spirit. God gave me this story. I did send off, I made one feeble attempt to send this story into a publisher, and it wasn't what they were looking for. And I sort of gave up. I didn't get it published. I'm not really that interested in, using it as a means of making a lot of money. I would like to make a lot of money, but more than that, I would like this story to be out there for everyone to see. That's why I wish that I knew graphics programs on the computer that would illustrate it, because it's a moving story. And there's some people out there with such great skill at doing the graphics artist programs on the computer. And if any of you wanted to take up this cause of rendering this story in a way that you have the skill to do, feel free to do it. but I always want it to be made available to everyone freely, so that this message can get out there to all the world. And I'm so happy with this dove story, because it didn't come from me just thinking it up and making it up. It came direct from Spirit. It's like, well, this is God's story, so it should be popular. It should be out there, and it should be free. So take a look at it. Its playlist is over in that sidebar, like I said. And if you don't mind, just to spur me on that I might do more with this story, put a comment under one of the 3 videos of it and let me know what you think about it. I just dearly love getting comments from people, and usually I answer them. And I thank you very much for viewing the Dove Story for Children. Okay, this is the Dove Lady, over and out. Bye for now.